Welcome to Lesson 6. Now that we have a general overview of riffs and runs, let's look at some advanced dynamics that will spice up those melodies. Like with dancing, it's one thing to learn the steps, it's another to dance those steps with flair. These are the two main areas we'll be focusing on this lesson: throat vibrato and some new bend variations. So, starting with our first area of focus, throat vibrato. Unlike the country vibrato that relies on our hand movements, throat vibrato, as the name suggests, is entirely controlled by our throat muscles. This gives us the ability to sustain long, drawn-out notes and give them extra depth and resonance. Now, quick disclaimer. I had been learning harmonica for the better part of 2 years before I even started getting hints of vibrato. So this is one of those techniques that will be a long-term goal to work towards. But I assure you the payoff is worth it. The best way I can describe throat vibrato is that it uses very similar mechanism to laughing. Those little wavers within our throat that create a quick pattern of vibration that ha 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 ha. That wavering, those accents, that breathing in as well. And over time this will gradually get smoother, and you'll be able to add it onto those single notes to really draw them out. When practicing this technique, it's important to take it slow at first, especially when breathing in. It's ideal to practice that with the harmonica against your mouth, as it sort of feels like you're choking, especially if you have any traces of saliva that it can clog you up a bit. So use the harmonica. It acts as like a barrier of sorts, and it softens the airflow into the throat. Best way to practice this is just to play the simple block chords like we do with rhythm exercises. Long, relaxed breaths in and out. At the start, this will be fairly clunky and fragmented. This is to be expected. Your throat will need time to adjust and get a feel for those movements. With this technique, patience and consistent effort is the aim of the game. So it's also worth noting you can also control the speed of vibration with how much strength you put into your breath. Similar to bending. It's the harder I draw, the faster the vibration. Again, this will just naturally develop the more you practice and implement this technique. Like with any musical instrument, your progress will be directly proportional to the time put in. So, again, just go slow, let your throat gradually get used to the action of vibrating. Now, time for bend variations. Unlike throat vibrato, these advanced bending techniques are a bit more attainable within a shorter time frame. Now, these are crush bends, upward or accented bends, and also downward bends, or going back and forth between a full bend. Now, firstly, crush bends. This is a fairly simple concept. It's Exactly the same as regular bending, but it's over 2 holes instead of just 1. Now these are typically played over holes 2 and 3 or 4 and 5. There isn't any sort of trick with this technique. It's more based on your general lung strength and bending aptitude. You essentially need double the draw power, since it's double the notes you're playing. So the more comfortable you are with bending, the closer you are to meeting the requirements for this technique. Again, one of those more long-term goals that take a while to master, but the payoff is well worth it, as it creates an extra gritty tone that lends itself perfectly to the blues. Apologies, I think someone's mowing their lawn outside. Okay, now that that person's stopped mowing their lawn, let's continue. Moving on to upward bends, or accented bends. Now, the key with this type of bend is to use tongue accenting to quickly snap to the bottom of the note, and then lift the bend back up towards the straight note. So essentially, oh whoops, had it upside down, sorry. So. This has countless implications when it comes to improvising over blues, as this allows you to add variation to any riff and lick you might know. This also enables a couple types of bending flourishes that can really wow an audience. Similar to triplets, there's 3 main notes in this flourish. The full bend acting as the center point. So, and just repeat that for as long as you wish. You can also do this on the 4 hole. Also, there is another type of flourish which is again 3 notes, but instead of going downward, we go upward. With these extra dynamics, the range of new riff possibilities opens up dramatically, and it becomes possible to fit multiple movements within a short span of holes. Just have a play around with it. Anyway, that just about wraps it up for this lesson. Again, main takeaway here is to take it slow. As the saying goes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Of course, the more you practice, the quicker you will progress, but any time you can set aside for it is more than enough. Just be aware that it's a matter of consistency. So, good luck, and I'll see you in the next one.